Hi everyone. I wanted to make a special video today addressing a topic that a lot of people have been asking me about ever since I started this video channel, and that's talking about Paul is dead. Paul McCartney, the old story that Paul McCartney actually died a long time ago, and the person that we have today who's about to put out a new album, December 11th, called McCartney 3, is actually an imposter, and has been an imposter for something like over 50 plus years, right? Okay, so let's discuss this a little bit. I always feel like whenever the topic comes up, I really don't want to go into detail about this because it's not a favorite topic of mine, and I don't know, I also feel it's kind of ridiculous. I don't really give it any credibility, but in all fairness, I promised some people that I'd finally get around to it, and here it is. Here's the video today. All right, here's the story. Supposedly, back in 1966, way back then, Paul McCartney, the real Paul McCartney, died in a car crash. And the Beatles were kind of so upset about it and flabbergasted, they didn't know how to go about going on in the future with the group. So what they did was they had a contest, and a Paul McCartney lookalike who looked just like Paul, named William Campbell, aka Billy Shears, you know that name, right? Supposedly won this contest, and because he looked so much like Paul, they decided to pass him off as Paul McCartney. And they did this in 1967 and 1968, and the Beatles started to supposedly, as the story goes, the legend, that started to feel as if they didn't really know how to tell anybody, or if they should break the news. They didn't want anybody to know that Paul had died, but the fans, in a way, they kind of felt had to kind of know, so they allegedly put clues in their albums. Some of the songs had references that if you look close enough, you could find out they're telling you that Paul McCartney was dead. Their album covers supposedly had hints on there. The Abbey Road album cover and all other sorts of covers on the Sgt. Pepper album cover. And this eventually supposedly became noticed by people. Eventually, a disc jockey found out about this, and people on college campuses were talking about it. And before you knew it, there was a firestorm of controversy that Paul is dead and the guy walking around is an imposter. Okay, well, now I'm going to lay a little surprise on you folks here. This video that I'm making today is not a serious analysis of the history, because as I said early on in the video, I really give this no credibility. I think it's ridiculous. This video that I'm making here, surprise, surprise, is a rant video. That's right. I'm leaving it as a surprise rant video. None of you saw it coming, or did you? Okay? I have a series of rant videos that I do. I call it RanTcid Mayo. RanTcid Mayo with a T. Okay? And this is a rant. I am fed up with people who think that Paul McCartney died in 1966 and that there's some fake guy running around here putting out a new album, McCartney 3, and that formed Wings and all this stuff. Now, I'm not addressing the stuff here with this video to people that just like to have a little fun. If you're a person watching this, and you're a person who feels that you know that Paul McCartney didn't really die in 1966, but you find it interesting and fun to look at the clues that the Beatles supposedly planted themselves, and you think it's interesting, you think it's kind of cool in a way to just get into it and see what you can find out, I'm not addressing you people. You want to have some fun. As long as you know that the fact is, not my opinion, the fact is that Paul McCartney never died up to this point. Okay? Up to today's date, November the 17th of 2020, the guy walking around, the guy who's waking up, wiping the sleep out of his eyes this morning, the guy who just posed on the Rolling Stone cover with Taylor Swift, the guy is James Paul McCartney, the real James Paul McCartney. So I'm not addressing, though, the people here that just have a little fun with it, who know that Paul McCartney's still with us, okay, who never died in 1966. I'm not addressing you. The people I'm addressing, and you listen up, you cretins. I'm talking to you jerks out there who really believe for a fact that Paul McCartney died in 1966 and there's a fake running around. You're the people I'm talking to here, okay? You're a bunch of freaking idiots. Conspiracy theorist addicts, okay? And you're going to be taken down a peg. Oh, there are really people out there. There are really people out there. You think they're fans, some of them. Some of them are not fans. They're just casual observers. There are people out there who actually go around doing talk shows and analysis videos and movies and films that will prove to you that Paul McCartney is dead. Let me tell you something, folks. Look at the people's earlobes, talking about the shape of their nostrils and how their face changes. Let me tell you something. Years ago, I weighed 140 pounds, okay? So I know how people change. So don't sit there and tell me. I used to not wear glasses, okay? People look different. And I got news for you. John Lennon and George Harrison and Ringo Starr probably changed more than their physical appearances over the decades than Paul McCartney ever did, okay? Let's talk about some of these clues. And remember, I'm talking to you, idiot. I'm talking to the ones who believe that Paul's really dead. You're the idiots I'm discussing here, okay? Let's talk about the Abbey Road cover. Supposedly, on the Abbey Road cover, you know, they have a Volkswagen with a license plate that says 28IF, okay? 28 if. And that supposedly means that's a clue, huh? There's to tell everybody looking at the cover that means that Paul McCartney would have been 28 if he was alive when he did Abbey Road on the cover. Hey, geniuses, Paul McCartney would have been 27, stupid. If the license plate had said 27 if, maybe I'd give you a little bit of credibility, okay? And then they say, Paul McCartney on the cover, he's walking with the Beatles on the Abbey Road cover, and he's not wearing any shoes. A sure sign that they bury corpses in some, I don't know where it is, in some country or something, where corpses don't wear shoes, all right? Let me tell you something, folks. Here's a cover, an alternate cover for Abbey Road, okay? Here's a cover where they're walking back and forth, and they say Paul is out of step with the others, also in the Abbey Road cover. Paul's walking around, he's out of step with you. Here's one where they're more similar in step. And what do you know? Look over there on Paul's foot, stupid. What is he wearing over there? Sandals, okay? He's not barefoot. So what this means, they shot covers of them walking to the left. They shot covers of them walking to the right. Tons of pictures they did. Walking different steps. Sometimes Paul put his shoes on. Then he tried one with a cigarette. They tried one without a cigarette. Sometimes he walked barefoot. It didn't matter. It was the luck of the draw. They decided that the picture they'd go with ultimately would be the one where he took his shoes off for a couple of the shots. All right? I'm just sick and tired of the nonsense, okay? There's all kinds of things people talk about. The song Glass Onion on the White Album. There's a line in there that John Lennon sings, here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul. Let me tell you something, jack-offs. The reason John Lennon wrote that song was just for people like you, idiots that are deluded to thinking there's all kinds of secret meanings out there in Beatles songs. And this was going on long before the Paul is dead stuff. People were always thinking, what does this mean? What does that mean? People thought, for example, on the Sgt. Pepper album, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. The initials, Lucy Sky Diamonds, LSD. Oh, yeah, he's talking about LSD. Hey, jerk, okay? It was Julian, the son of John Lennon, who came home with a picture of a girl floating around in the sky, a drawing that he made. John said, what's this? He said, that's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Daddy. A great title. And he wrote a song about it, all right? That's why in Glass Onion he says, here's another clue for you all, you jackasses. The walrus was Paul. He's having fun with you idiots that like to go analyze everything. Long before the Paul is dead thing. And, speaking of the Paul is dead thing, I'd like to know why, if the Beatles were so desperate to continue on the group and to try to hide the fact that Paul died to the point where they hire William Campbell, Billy Shears, okay, to be the imposter to replace Paul, why would they then go about and say, well, we tried to hide it by getting a look-alike, but now we're going to tell everybody through clues. We're going to leave clues so everybody knows that Paul. Why don't you just come out and say it, okay? If Paul McCartney died, and if you really want people to know, why do little clues here and there? Just come out and say, hey, Paul died. And you mean to tell me after all of this, the secret died with John Lennon, the secret died with George Harrison, Ringo Starr now is 80 years old, Paul is 78, they're still keeping mum tight-lipped about it. Nobody ever talked about it. Mal Evans, George Martin, Any of the Beatles' wives, ex-wives, nobody is talking, right? Everybody's signed an affidavit swearing that this is, it never happened. I'm sick and tired of it, folks. You people are crazy. Let's go to some more of these dumbass clues. Another one is in Strawberry Fields Forever. Of course, we know. In the fade out at the end of the song, you hear a voice supposedly saying, "I buried Paul." Oh, really? Well, John Lennon explained to you it was cranberry sauce. Now, wait a minute. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Oh, of course John's going to deny it. He's going to say that he said cranberry sauce. Well, it sounds like I buried Paul to me. It could sound like anything. I'm very bored. I'm a turd. Whatever you want to hear. Whatever you think you're hearing, you're going to hear. But I'll tell you this, jerks. A lot of you people, most of you fanatics out there, you conspiracy theorist freaks out there, don't really have all of the bootlegs and all of the rare recordings. Most of you are just novices. Some of you are not collectors at all. Some of you just go by what you hear. Let me tell you something. Or the gossip on the internet and all this. Let me tell you something. I'm a collector. I'm a diehard fan. I have all kinds of outtakes and all kinds of run-throughs of Strawberry Fields. I have, and a lot of the people like me who collect this stuff have, the versions of Strawberry Fields, and there are many of them, where at the end, when John's going, cranberry sauce, cranberry sauce, you can hear the S, sauce, sauce, you can hear the S at the end of it, okay? Why do I know that? Because I'm not just one of these idiots who just say, oh, Paul's dead. I looked at 2 pictures of Paul in the magazine. I looked at Time magazine. I saw a picture of Paul in 64. I saw a picture of Paul in 84. And you know what? I think he's dead because they showed you a different angle of his head. No, I'm talking about people who study this crap, okay? I have a lot of stuff. If you go to my freaking house, I've got all kinds of bad stuff of Paul. Look at this, okay? See that face Paul's making there? Okay? He made the same damn face in 1963, okay? It's the same guy. James Paul McCartney. The guy that's coming out with McCartney 3. All right? That's another thing you people don't understand. If you collected all this stuff the way I collected all this, he looks like, this is exactly the way he looked at Some Other Guy when they played this in the Cavern. Oh, you never heard of Some Other Guy? You never heard of the Cavern? You never heard of the footage of this? Look, let me tell you something. You don't know nothing. All right? All you people. If you've watched as much footage as I have, okay, if you've watched every single piece of footage Paul ever did, from 1962 to maybe, say, the concert he did like recently, a year ago or something, or an appearance he made for COVID-19 recently, I'm telling you, he has the same facial tics. He does the same gestures. He does the same, he does the same, get me to curse here. He does the same expressions, but you wouldn't know that. 99.9% of you out there wouldn't know any of this because all you're doing is going with the flow. All you're doing is going with the status quo. All you're doing is drinking the Kool-Aid. You don't even know it. You don't have to study this stuff. You know, things Paul said, he says, a lot. What do you think? Do you think the Beatles really like overnight trained this guy, Billy Shears, William Campbell? Do you think they trained him overnight to make every tick, every little tick that Paul has, every blink of the eye, every little touch of the face, every little this, every little thing that he does with his mouth? You think they went over that overnight and he got it down pat? This guy that you see now, who's 78 years old running around, this is James Paul McCartney. You jackasses. You jagoffs. I'm sick and tired of it. I tell you, folks, I can go on and on with the clues. The clues are all explainable. I'll give you a little bone here. There's one thing I always wondered. The question has always been whether or not the Beatles themselves actually intentionally planted clues. A lot of people think, well, Paul McCartney didn't really die in 1966, but I do believe the Beatles, for fun, for a gimmick, actually planted the clues. Well, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I will give you a bone here. There is one situation where I question it and think maybe the Beatles planted something, and I'll tell you what that is, okay? On the White Album, if you take the song Revolution 9 and you play it backwards, you'll hear something, okay? As we know, the song goes number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9. If you take it and you take your finger and you play it backwards, a voice that says number 9 seems to go backwards and say, turn me on, dead man. 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 I got to admit, that does sound right. And I'll tell you what puzzles me about it. Should it have the same amount of syllables? Number 9. Number 9 is 3 syllables. So when you turn it backwards, Why does it have 5 symbols? You go number 9, number 9, then you turn it backwards. Now you got 5 symbols. Turn me on, dead man. Turn me on, dead man. It's almost, you go from 3 syllables to 5 when you reverse it. Sounds like that was planted. Now you got me doing it. All right, look. Here's the deal. You people, stay the heck away from my channel, will you? I don't indulge you. You know that whenever you come over here with your fall stuff, F-A-U-L, you don't call him Paul, you call him Fall. You put fake Paul, F-A-U-L, Fall. You know, whenever you come over here, you're promptly gone, okay? I'm just doing this video just to get it off my chest, the one and only time I'm going to do it, okay? You're going to be promptly gone, you'll be out of here. These comments in this actual video are going to be monitored by me. They're going to be all private comments, and I'm going to pass the ones forward and publicize the ones that I feel are okay to publicize. I am here to finish this up by telling you that Paul McCartney did not die in 1966. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists, starved lunatic gluttons that just love to just feed on this. You have no life. You have nothing of interest to do with your time. Instead of like looking to find out what stuff you can make conspiracy theories about and getting off on that and starting websites and starting video and making movies about it, why don't you get a stamp collection, huh? Get a coin collection. Do something else with your time, okay? Don't sit here and waste all your time and our time on garbage like Paul McCartney died in 66. And I'm going to tell you something else in closing. The same thing I'm talking about here applies to you jerk and morons out there who actually believe that John Lennon was murdered by the government of the U.S., okay? That the jerk of all jerks who murdered John was actually a patsy hired by the government. Nonsense! Get a life!